Witnesses telling us they have never experienced anything like what they saw last night.
Scott is the worst person I worked with in my entire career in music.
It just felt like we was like literally like in fucking hell, bro. Like it felt like we was in a concert in hell.
It all feels very orchestrated. It all feels very on purpose.
Hello everybody, how are you guys today? I hope you all are having an amazing day so far. My name is Shanda and welcome to my channel, you guys. I first want to say that I've missed you guys so much. It's been a long time since I've made a video. I haven't really talked about this too much on my channel. I think I mentioned it like once or twice, but I do have heart disease. It is something I was born with. It's something I will always have. And every 7 years or so, I have to get a ablation procedure. So I need to get a certain heart surgery, and I had to get my heart surgery just a couple weeks ago, and I didn't want to stay gone this long, but after I healed up, my daughter got sick, and then I had to work at her school helping out with the book fair like every single day. But I am all healed up, and she's better, and I am so happy to be here. I missed you guys so much, and yeah, I just wanted to say that I love making content for you guys, and I missed you guys so much. So thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will enjoy this video. If you don't enjoy it, I hope you at least give it a chance. So today I want to go ahead and talk about the travesty, they're calling it, at Travis Scott's Astro World concert. I know this happened last Friday. There's been so many videos and information on it already. I really wanted to give my take on it because I'll explain a little later, but I do have a lot of experience in something like this, and I really wanted to talk about my view on this. So I'll explain what I mean by that a little later, but let's go ahead and get into the video, you guys. Okay guys, so first I want to just kind of rehash the situation. Last Friday on November 5th, Travis Scott gave a concert at Astro World in Houston, Texas, and it's like a 2-day festival, and it's his festival. He is always the headliner, and he fills it with other very popular rappers, and there is like a festival carnival going on as well. It seems like it would be a really fun time, but at this Astro World, it was just a tragedy. Like nothing went right, everything went wrong. People were injured, people lost their lives. It was just absolutely horrible. Honestly, before this, I've never even heard of Travis Scott. I had no idea who he was whatsoever, which is pretty ridiculous since I do commentary, I guess, but I had no idea who he was. My daughter plays Roblox a lot. I play Roblox with her. She just got into Fortnite. Apparently he has like a Fortnite emote, not anymore, but he is marketed to a lot of young kids, and he apparently had a meal at McDonald's, which is also marketed to young kids as well. So he had a lot of fans ranging all the way from like 5-6 years old to like 30, so, or maybe higher. I don't know. But at this festival, everything went wrong from the beginning. It should have been stopped. It should have been canceled. I don't know why it wasn't, but we will get there. So I want to first talk about the victims who sadly lost their lives to this tragedy. I'm going to pull up a picture, and here are the first 8 victims that lost their lives at the Astro World Festival. There is John Hilgert. He is only 14 years old. Brianna Rodriguez, she was only 16 years old. And she is actually a friend of Aiden Cruz, one of the boys who tried to climb up on the cameraman's platform and stop the show. She was there with him. Jake Juranek, he is 20. We have Franco Patino, he was 21 years old. Axel Acosta, he is 21 years old as well. Madison Dubisky, she is 23. Rudy Penna, I'm sorry, he was 23, and Danish Bog, he was 27 years old. These 8 people sadly lost their lives that night, and there was 300 people injured. There was 17 people taken to the hospital that night. 11 of them were in cardiac arrest, which we know that cardiac arrest you get if you can't breathe and you have no oxygen. At the festival, I don't want to play the video because it was very hard to watch, but at the festival they did get a woman out of the crowd. They had her on a stretcher. They didn't have her strapped in correctly, or they weren't carrying her correctly, but they tilted and she slid off. She was already unconscious. She slid off the stretcher, hit head first on the concrete, and you can just hear everybody gasp. Like, it is absolutely awful, but she was in the hospital. Sadly, she succumbed to her injuries, and this is 22-year-old Baharti Shahanti, and she is the 9th victim of Astro World. She was a senior at Texas A&M, and then we have the 10th victim who sadly passed away Sunday night, and our 10th victim, his name is Ezra Blount, and he was only 9 years old. He was the 9-year-old boy that went to the concert with his father, and he was on his dad's shoulders. His dad succumbed to the crowd. He couldn't breathe. He was being squished. He passed out, and his baby fell into the crowd, and he was trampled. He was in a medically induced coma, and sadly he passed away Sunday night. Now, I know everybody is finger pointing and blaming his father and saying that's no place for a child, that's no place for a 9-year-old boy, but yes, they are correct. But then on the other hand, I went to my first concert when I was 10 years old, and honestly, I bought VIP tickets and a meet and greet for my daughter right before COVID hit. Her and I were gonna go see Motionless in White together. They're my favorite band. I do vocal covers of their songs all the time on my channel. They are a metal band, like heavy metal. And I've been to so many of their shows, and I've always seen little kids there, and the kids are always treated so great, and like they're even pulled up on stage sometime. Chris, the frontman, the singer, he like will pull them up on stage. He'll talk to them. He always makes sure that the kid is in the front and okay. And since we had VIP, I thought it would be all right, but sadly COVID came and they had to cancel everything, and we never actually got to go. But I was gonna take her. I mean, I had like headphones for her. My brother is in a band, and he also works on airplanes, so he has like these headphones that will protect your ears and cancel like the noise, and he gives them to his kids when they have band practice. And I was gonna borrow one of those, and I didn't think, when you think about doing something like this with your child, you never think that something like this is going to happen. So honestly, I think when the guy, okay, Travis Scott is marketed to children. He is in Fortnite. He did like a virtual concert on Fortnite where you could take your characters and see the show. He had that meal and the toys at McDonald's. He's marketed a lot towards young kids, and a lot of young kids just think that Travis Scott is like the world to them. So this dad, supposedly this dad and son, they do everything together. So this dad paid $400 per ticket. So he spent $800 to take his baby to this concert, and they went together. I'm sure he thought, if you're going to go to a concert, who better to go with than your father? Like, he's going to do anything he can to protect him. So he took him, and I don't know if he knew Travis Scott. I don't know if he knew of his music. I don't know if he knew of his reputation with the raging and all that stuff. Honestly, if I was taking my daughter to a concert of someone she loved, I don't think I would have had the presence of mind. I mean, I will now, but I don't think I would ever had the presence of mind to look up that band and look at their previous concerts and make sure they weren't crazy and rowdy and irresponsible like that. I mean, his dad probably never would have thought of that. So is it really his dad's fault? I don't know, but I know his dad is completely torn apart and struck with grief and guilt, and finger pointing and telling him how he was wrong and it was his fault isn't the right thing to do. But anyway, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and move on. There are GoFundMes for some of these victims, and I will link every one of the GoFundMes down below in the description box, of course. And if you want to donate, of course, no pressure, but if you do want to donate, the links will be down below. So let's go ahead and rewind and go back to the beginning of that day. Okay, so before you put on a festival or a concert or anything of this magnitude, you have to have everything that you need. You got to have the insurance, you got to have security, medics, anything to show that you are ready for the inevitable, the impossible. You got to be ready for anything. Well, they sadly fell extremely short in this case. The security guards were hired via text message, if you can believe it or not. They just sent out text messages, I guess, to random people. I don't know if they had their numbers from somewhere. I mean, usually I'm sure when you like give your phone number to a store, a lot of times they will sell that information, and that's where you get all the calls from. A lot of times they just call random numbers. I mean, I don't know, I'm not an expert, but anyways, so they just started texting people, and then the people showed up. They were hired on the spot, no interview, no nothing. They didn't even show ID. There is video of security guard talking, saying that he did not even show ID.
Do they have any qualifications?
I doubt it, because I didn't show anything.
You didn't show anything?
I didn't even show my ID.
And you were in there as a security guard?
As a security guard.
Did you have a uniform?
I had a uniform. They gave us vests. I was already in this all black. I was already in all
So
black.
wait, so you show up, they don't ask for your ID, they don't ask for any certification, and they just hand you the uniform?
They
and
didn't
then
even
you
ask
go.
for a phone number. But see,
They know your name?
They know my name. We wrote our name on like a sign and shit. But
So didn't even have to show ID. But to become a security guard, you do need some credentials. So they made sure that their security guards got the proper credentials, but it was literally a test. They took the test at 11 p.m. the night before the concert, and they said that the teacher was actually giving them the answers as they were doing this test, because, I mean, of course, everybody has to pass, right? What are they going to do at 11 o'clock at night, the night before, if somebody doesn't pass?
I was hired by CSC to work the Astro Festival. I was hired a few days prior to the festival to work event staff it was pretty vague exactly what the roles would be. The day before Astro World, I completed the orientation and the training for the process. And when I arrived on Friday morning around 7 a.m., they were still pretty vague, didn't really tell us what we would be doing. They just issued us our uniform, our jackets. You do have to take a state licensing exam for a level 2 security officer. However, the training for that was extremely brief. It was an open book test. The teacher, he was actually giving us the answers as we were going through the books ourselves and trying to hurry up and fill out the answers. This was the night before Astro World, and it was already approaching 11 p.m. We had been there for 3 or 4 hours. We were tired. We were hungry. After I checked in with CSC and as we walked the perimeter, I just knew that we were definitely understaffed in every sense of the word. There was probably one security guard from what I saw. I would say there was probably one security guard for every 500 to 1,000 people, severely understaffed.
So after everybody passed their test, they went home. They came back the next morning, bright and early. Once they got there, the morning of, they gave them their uniforms, they changed, and then they just hung around. They didn't tell them where to go. They didn't tell them what to do. They didn't know anything. So they did say they had about 1,500 security guards, including like the front gate for the festival and everything. About 1,500 security guards for 50,000 people. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about is how many people were there really? Because they keep saying there was 50,000 people there. 50,000 tickets were sold. 50,000, 50,000. That's what you keep hearing. And I am very intrigued as to why they keep saying 50,000 people, because a couple of months ago, they said that there was 100,000 tickets sold. Okay, so a couple of months ago, before the show, when they were hyping the show up, they said there was 100,000 tickets sold, 100,000, 100,000. But now, after this tragedy, they keep saying 50,000. So I'm very curious, and here's a couple of pictures proving that. So right here, it says Astro World has expanded its capacity and expects to welcome 100,000 fans to Houston next month. A limited number of 2-day GA tickets to the 2021 third annual festival have been released and are on sale right now at $350 a piece. So the GA means the pit, like down on the floor around the stage. Duh. So, of course, there's a limited number of people who can be down around the stage, and then there are usually like seats around back, not down on the floor, that people will sit on if they don't have those general admission tickets. It says, according to event producers, the general ticket on sale last spring sold out in under 1 hour without a music performance lineup. So last year, the tickets sold out for general admission in 1 hour before they even knew who was even going to be there. So that's pretty impressive to me. If I bought a general admission ticket for $350, I sure as hell want to know who the hell I'm going to see. What if I don't even like any of those bands? That would suck. In 2019, there were 50,000 attendees at Astro World, and 100,000 tickets went on sale for the 2021 festival. Okay, the 2019 festival, there were 50,000 people there. 2020, they had to cancel because of COVID. And then 2021, there was 100,000 tickets that were sold. The tickets went on sale, and they sold out within 30 minutes of launching. So they did sell all 100,000 tickets. So why are they claiming that there was only 50,000 people there? Why are they lying? That is what I want to know. Why are they lying about this? Because in the picture they said that they expanded the capacity to have 100,000 people there. So is that not true? Like, are they trying to not get out of trouble by saying there was only 50,000 people? I'm very curious, and I also don't know why no one has mentioned this. This is probably a pretty big deal, right? Anyways, so they said that they had 1,500 security guards for 50,000 people, which if you go by how many tickets they sold, they had 1,500 security guards for 100,000 people. Not enough at all. Not enough. So at the beginning of the day, this happened. Okay, so at the very beginning of the day, it looks like hundreds, if not thousands, of fans just crashed through the gates, broke into the venue, and are just charging through. Now, if you're already at maximum capacity of 100,000 people, then I'm going to keep saying 100,000 because that's what they said last month. So if you're at maximum capacity of 100,000 people and then hundreds, if not thousands, of fans break through the gates and just rush in, that is not good. And the security guards aren't even there. There's no security guards whatsoever in the beginning of this. Then they start coming, and they're not really doing much. They're just tackling people, hitting people, but once they fall over and they get back up, they just let them run off. They don't like try to subdue them or handcuff them or get them back out. They don't, I mean, I know there's a lot of people, there's not a lot of security guards, that's why you need more security, so there's not much they can do, but after this happens and they got the gates secured, they should have done something. I mean, they didn't have to completely cancel the festival, but they should have done something where they made everybody like put it on hold, or they checked tickets, or they walked through the venue checking tickets everywhere, and if somebody didn't have their ticket, they escort them out. They didn't do anything. They didn't attempt to do anything. So right there, that should have been a red flag right there. So I want to go ahead and talk about the medics as well. Now, some medics have came out on TikTok and made videos or whatever and said that they did have training, and that wasn't true, because a lot of people were saying, well, the medics weren't trained properly and this and that. But they did, some of them did come out and say that they did have training and they really are medics. But even if they were properly trained, was there really enough of them? And I think the answer to that is no. There was not enough medics for that many people. And there was one woman, she was an ICU nurse. Her name is Madeline Eskins, and she passed out. Her boyfriend picked her up, and then the crowd surfed her to the front, and they surfed her to safety. She woke up with a bottle of water in her lap, and then she saw that there was tons of unconscious people. They were doing CPR on them, and she mentioned her credentials, that she was an ICU nurse, and they asked her to help. They needed more help. So she jumped in, she was helping, saving lives, and she said that the people who were doing CPR, they weren't doing it correctly. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have any equipment that they were supposed to have. Let's just let her tell it. This is what she said.
Security there for that crowd?
Not at all. There wasn't enough medical staff. There wasn't enough security. Even, security was trying to get to people. They couldn't get to anyone because the crowd was entirely too big. I mean, I couldn't move my arm. So there was no way another body was getting in there. They were trying, but they couldn't. You know, Travis acknowledged that something was happening in the crowd. He acknowledged that there was an ambulance. He acknowledged that someone was passed out, and then just continued the concert. I'm angry about that. I'm disappointed in how everything was handled. I'm disappointed that the medical staff that was there was not truly medical staff. Angry about that. I'm disappointed in how everything was handled. I'm disappointed that the medical staff that was there was not truly medical staff. They had little to no experience in this. Some of them had little to no experience in this type of situation. It's very unfair for them to be the ones that are, you know, responsible for doing this. I mean, everyone looked to them to provide medical care when they had, you know, not a lot of experience in this field.
So these people didn't have barely any equipment that they should have had whatsoever, and they weren't even checking pulses. They weren't doing it correctly. So if they did have training, I don't know if they just forgot their training in the midst of the chaos, but I don't know. But I'm sure there were some medics there that were actually medics and had the training, but I'm sure there was also some there that really didn't even know how to do anything. And that's another thing that I'm talking about. They didn't have enough security. They didn't have enough medics. They didn't have the proper equipment. It just seems like the producers, the managers, the Live Nation who put the show on, it seems like they maximize their profits by expanding the capacity and selling 100,000 tickets, and then minimized all the money that they spent for the safety of the concert goers. Cutting corners, putting money over safety and morals is what happened. I think that's what happened. That's my opinion. I would love to hear your guys' opinion. I love to hear everything that you guys have to say about everything that we talk about on this channel. But let's go ahead and talk about how they were saying that someone was injecting other people with drugs.
Will tell you, one of the narratives was that some individual was injecting other people with drugs.
Now, the ICU nurse also spoke on this in her interview, and she said she never saw anything like that at all. Nothing.
I'm upset that people are saying that this was all drug related. There's rumors that someone was running around with a needle injecting people with drugs. I never saw that. I'm not an expert in, you know, toxicology. I have no idea how to tell if these people were truly overdosing in that given situation, but I will say that me, as someone who did not do any type of drugs, does not do any type of drugs, that I could have very easily been one of those people because I was getting suffocated. Suffocation can lead to cardiac arrest, and they were saying that these individuals were trampled. Because once you fell in that pit, that crowd, it was almost a death sentence. So, I mean, if you fell, you weren't getting up. So if these people got trampled at 100, could they have had drugs in their system? You know, probably. There's 50,000 people there to party. But do I think that this was primarily drug related? No. They're saying, oh, it's fentanyl. It's fentanyl-laced drugs. It just doesn't make sense to me if that was the case. Everyone started to die and pass out whenever Travis came on the stage. Did the drugs just kick in for everybody when Travis came on the stage?
And the chief of police also said that one of their security guards did pass out or become unconscious, and when he woke up, or they administered Narcan or naloxone, and when he woke up, they did see a needle mark on his neck.
We do have a report of a security officer, according to the medical staff that was out and treated him last night, that he was reaching over to restrain or grab a citizen, and he felt a prick in his neck. When he was examined, he went unconscious. They administered Narcan. He was revived, and the medical staff did notice a prick that was similar to a prick that you would get if somebody's trying to inject. That is one part of it. The other thing that's very important, there were some individuals that were trampled. And we want to be respectful of that. But we just ask that y'all give us time to do a proper investigation.
Now, I don't want to sound like an ass, okay? I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I want to see a picture of that needle mark. I'm sorry, but I do. I want to see a picture of the needle mark. I want to see a toxicology report on this security guard. And even if he has a toxicology report done and they see that he has something in his system, I want to know what is in his system. Because I heard they were saying, oh, well, it was fentanyl. Oh, they were doing this. Well, how do you know? And I'm sure if a security guard had a needle mark in his neck, you absolutely 100% sent him to the hospital and did a toxicology report, right? You would think that they would. So I would like to see that report. I mean, just saying. I would like to see the report. I'd like to see a picture of the needle mark that everyone else supposedly saw. And I'm sorry, but these security guards were hired via text message. They didn't even have to show an ID. So how would they know that there wasn't those drugs in this person's system before the concert? Or how do they know that those drugs weren't done on that person's own free will? They definitely didn't do any drug tests on these security guards before the show. So even if there was something in his system, how would they know that it was put there by someone else? I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. This is something that I feel is completely just an scapegoat, I guess. It's something that they are a PR move that they're trying to blame their negligence on a person in the crowd injecting people with drugs and causing panic. I don't buy it. I don't think that's what happened at all. And that's just my opinion. I would love to hear your guys' opinion as well. But anyways, later that night, when Travis came out, the crowd surged and moved forward. Now, when the crowd moved forward, think about it. You're at maximum capacity, over maximum capacity, way over, and the whole crowd is shoving forward. There's nowhere to move. You can't even move around. You can't move your arm. You can't move your legs. You can't leave if you want to. You can't go anywhere. And then everybody is breathing heavily, and you can't get any oxygen. You have to try, because it's just CO2 what people's breathing out, so you can't get any oxygen. People are being crushed. Their lungs cannot expand, and they can't get any oxygen. They're passing out. People are passing out. That's causing panic. No one has to be there injecting people with drugs. That is enough and a panic in its own right there. But and I also want to say that in this venue with 100,000 people in Houston, Texas, it is still hot there. There are 2 free water stands. 2. And the lines for these free water was 3 hours long per line, around 3 hours for free water. This is absolutely ridiculous. That is not enough whatsoever. With that many people, they need to have a lot more free water stands. And I have been to so many festivals, so many music festivals and concerts, and I have always been or always tried to get general admission and be towards the front, and there's always been security guards at the front, behind the barricades, passing out water left and right, passing out little cups of water. They'll have bottles of water, and they'll pour it in little cups, and they'll pass it out, and people will be passing it back, and they've always done that. And for them not to be doing that there, I don't understand why. But there was only 2 free water stands. People weren't getting water. And if you are standing, if you go to a music festival and you want to see this performer, and that is your favorite performer, odds are you're going to go straight to his stage at the beginning of the day when no one else is there, and you're going to stand there and wait there all day long. You're not going to drink much because you don't want to have to go to the bathroom. I mean, that's what I've always done. And just every time like somebody else leaves the stage, you will move forward a little more and a little more. So people are standing there and all they want to do is see Travis. And when the free water line, you're thirsty and the free water line is over there and it is 3 hours long, no way you're gonna go. That is why there's always security guards at the front passing out water all day long. Anyway, sorry. So whose fault is it? Is it Travis Scott's fault? Is it the fault of his managers, the producers? Is it the fault of Live Nation who put on the show? I don't know. I feel like everyone probably has a part in this. Everyone could have done a better job and everyone should share the blame. That's just my thoughts. But when I first thought about it, I was like, well, if he is on stage, it's nighttime, all the lights are shining on him, he probably can't see the crowd very good. So did he really know what was going on? But then you see that he stopped the show because he saw someone passed out and he told them to get over to him and get him out of there. So he obviously could pick that guy out of the whole crowd, so he could obviously see what is going on. So, okay, if he can see what's going on and he picked that guy out, then he can see what's going on.